premium suites to more parking. We have a first look at the potential future of PNC Arena. Then Simone Biles clinching gold in the all-round final today.
It's really nice to have Simone Biles competing again, so it's kind of like her little comeback.
WRAL is in Paris with how fans showed up to support her and Team USA. Right now at 7, we are tracking more dangerous heat and activity in the tropics. New models showing this disturbance that we are watching in the Atlantic could impact North Carolina coast next week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Let's take a look at some of the temperatures outside. Hanging out in the 90s right now. We are under a heat advisory, and it's going to be like that for another hour or so. The heat is going to stick with us for a bit. Tomorrow is going to feel even hotter, maybe up to 112 degrees. What that feels like temperature. Meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking all this for us. Kat.
It is going to be sizzling hot, really dangerously hot tomorrow. The heat index could be near 110 for many of us. You really need to stay hydrated. Take some breaks in the shade and the air conditioning if you work outside. And a heat advisory is in effect tomorrow for our entire viewing area from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Once we get past tomorrow, the heat backs off a little bit for the weekend, so some good news there. But let's talk tropics. This system now has a 70% chance of developing. Here's the center of it. It would likely develop in this red zone right here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Here's the thing, though. We are not in the clear. Just because this is likely to be initially a Gulf Coast landfall, we still could see impacts here as we get into next week. As we get into Sunday, Monday, notice the landfall closer to the west coast of Florida. We'll watch this. More models are showing it kind of recurving and setting off the southeast coast. There's a difference in location amongst the models, so still a good amount of uncertainty, but this is going to be one for us to watch as we look ahead to next week. If you have weekend beach plans, I think you'll be okay. So the time period to watch would be next week, but a lot of differences amongst the timing in the models. The European model is much slower and weaker. It's still off the South Carolina coast by Thursday of next week. The American model is a bit faster and stronger. I'll have a closer look at this and our storm chances in the days ahead coming up.
All right, Kat, and this heat is causing some major disruptions at Wake County schools, and that causes problems for families and their scheduling and everything. 2 schools had to call it quits actually a little bit early in the last 24 hours after their air conditioning units gave out. Lake Myra Elementary and Moore Square Middle School both. They are the latest schools to have these HVAC issues. More than 40 times in the last year, schools have had to shut down because of these types of things. Wake County schools say the crews are still working right now to fix the issues at these 2 schools, and that they will send an email to families about if their school will actually open tomorrow.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and all new at 7, a Hope Mills man charged with human trafficking of a child is facing new charges this evening. We first told you about this last week when Timothy 2 was charged in this case. Deputies in Cumberland County say that he tried to solicit a 13-year-old over Instagram for sexual acts. Last week, they charged him with human trafficking of a child. Today, we learned that he is now facing 20 counts of indecent liberties with a child. He is in the Cumberland County Detention Center being held on $800,000 bond, and investigators want to hear from anyone with any more information. If you have any information, call the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office.
The man accused of using a sledgehammer to assault a Lowe's employee is now in the Durham County Jail. Durham police say 25-year-old Aaron Williams was taken into custody last night. Williams was wanted for robbery and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, among other charges. You can just see the blurry hammer in his right hand there. The attack happened Saturday, I should say, at the Lowe's hardware store on Fayetteville Road. Williams is being held with no bond.
Tonight, we are getting our first look at the renovations $300 million could bring to PNC Arena. We're talking about remodeled entrances, a view bar on the upper level, expanded suite options, a new hub featuring food and retail, and even a beer garden. These new renderings just released today that you see here. As WRAL's Destiny Patterson explains, these designs are just the beginning of this renovation process.
Now we have a better idea of what this arena could really look like and the amenities that it could have. The goal is to use the space more efficiently as well as make more money, especially when it comes to VIP and premium experiences.
Can you imagine yourself here, walking up to this facade? This could be the new PNC Arena with the same foundation, grab-and-go markets, private premium bunker suites, and more parking.
What the building looks like on its skin really was incredible.
Also on the table, expanding the south side of the building, a beer garden, and a team store.
With these tweaks and these other changes to the building, it's going to make sure that this building is not only great for the next 5 years, the next 15, next 25 years.
Raleigh and Wake County committed $300 million to the renovation of this facility. So the question becomes, what can the board afford?
We still have to find a way to pay for all this, and so I want to caution everybody in this room that what we have seen today still may not be what we end up getting.
These enhancements go hand in hand with an agreement with the Canes owner to develop the land around the arena. The concept has been compared to that of the Battery in Atlanta. It'll include shopping, dining, a music venue, and more.
How we marry these things together to end up what this community deserves and is expecting, it's going to be a little bit of art and a lot of magic.
It's important to note that these are simply ideas at this point. Nothing is set in stone. So when it comes to fitting these ideas into the budget, there are still several more steps that need to be taken. But Isley says that he expects that to happen fairly quickly. Renovations are scheduled to start next summer. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Since President Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 presidential race, NBC and some other media outlets have moved North Carolina back into that swing state column. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is here in the studio as we look at some of these numbers. Can you tell us what are they looking at that makes us think North Carolina is back in this conversation?
Well, the publicity and the excitement around your presumptive nominee, Kamala Harris, has definitely given her a bump in the polls in almost every swing state. But here it's been a little bit harder to quantify that. As you can see, I want to show you the most recent polling we have. It's 48 to 46. If we go back a month, it's 46 to 43. So it's still 2 or 3 points apart, just 1% difference. However, this is just one poll, right? And a poll is a snapshot in time of how people are feeling at a given moment. Still, the Biden campaign, which is, of course, now the Harris campaign, has been bullish on North Carolina from the very beginning. They've said they think they can win this state, even though no Democrat has won here in a presidential race since 2008. That was 16 years ago with President Barack Obama.
Have they explained why they think they can win here after all that time?
Well, I wish I could see their internal polling, but we do know there are a couple of factors at play. First is turnout. Black voters and young voters haven't turned out in the last 2 election cycles in the numbers that they did before. Kamala may have the best chance of changing that, and Democrats have invested a lot here. They're betting on a strong ground game to get out the vote. And I do want to mention that in that same poll we just cited, when you look into the crosstabs, black voters were twice as likely as average voters to say they're more likely to vote now than they were. Secondly is demographics. The state has seen an influx of people moving here from more Democratic states. The big urban areas are getting bluer and bluer by the year. Of course, the question is, number one, do these people vote? And number two, is that enough to hit the tipping points for Democrats in a statewide race?
All right, all very interesting stuff. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie, thank you so much. And for all of you at home, you can always find all of our election coverage on the NC Capitol section of our website, WRAL.com.
The search committee tasked with identifying finalists to be the next permanent chancellor at UNC Chapel Hill conducted closed-door interviews for the past 2 days. That committee may have chosen names it will forward to the university's Board of Trustees. The UNC is seeking a permanent chancellor to replace Kevin Guskiewicz, who left the university in January to become the president of Michigan State University. Lee Roberts was appointed interim chancellor. Another impressive day in Paris for Team USA. Simone Biles won her 6th gold in the women's all-around individual. Suni Lee took bronze. Taking a live look at Paris right now. Isn't this shot of the Eiffel Tower just beautiful? I can't get enough of it. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin talked with fans who witnessed Biles' epic comeback in person.
We have a great team, so, they're all wonderful.
People came from near and far to see the Paris Olympics, an iconic city for travelers.
Paris is very important.
These few weeks of the Summer Games, all eyes on the athletes, especially
Simone Biles.
Really, Simone. It's really nice to have Simone Biles competing again, so it's kind of like her little comeback.
A name that has become a household name since her first appearance at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio.
Because I really love how strong she is and, all the things she's been through. She's showed her resilience.
Grit, that's led her to more gold medals than any other female gymnast. And at 27, the oldest woman to win the all-around competition. She credits her support system for her success.
It's amazing to have our village out there and supporting us because they didn't get to do that in Tokyo. So for us all to come together and be able to cherish this memory together forever is super special.
Tokyo gold medalist Suni Lee also brought a roar from the stands to earn a bronze medal in the final. The athletes all appreciate the hospitality.
Oh, the people is very good. It's very good.
And are embracing the Olympic experience.
I think it's a lot different than watching on TV. You kind of get to see sort of in live action, putting the Olympics really together. So it's a totally different experience. So we're really happy to be here.
Unbelievable.
I'm pretty jealous of those fans, I've got to say.
We were talking about the really cool photography.
Yeah, I know.
That Suni Lee shot was amazing. So let's take a look. This is the medal count. This is where things stand right now. The U.S., boy, oh boy, they're doing pretty well. So the United States right now sitting at 37 medals, which is a decent lead ahead of the host city, Paris. France there in second place was 27, and then China in third.
By the way, of USA's 9 gold medals, women won 7 of them. In about 20 minutes, keep it here on WRAL. We have the Olympic Zone.
We will take you behind the scenes, check in live with WRAL's Liz McLaughlin. She's in Paris for us. That's right after this newscast at 7:30. Then at 8 o'clock, it is prime time in Paris. You can catch all the action you missed today, including women's gymnastics all-around final and several swimming races, all right here on WRAL. Still ahead, every year more than 20,000 crashes involve an animal.
It's striking. I sat down with a North Carolina lawmaker pushing for our state to invest in a proven concept that can help prevent them after a scary encounter of her own. That story is next. North Carolina is a wildlife state with an animal problem. No, really. We have beautiful animals here. Just look at this black bear. And then in the same area, bucks and an elk and her calf. This video from a camera planted about 130 feet away from a North Carolina highway. According to the Department of Transportation, each year, on average, there are more than 21,000 crashes involving an animal and a vehicle in North Carolina. Dealing with the crashes costs the state between $400,000 and $500,000 per year. That's up to $500,000 each year. This is what can happen when a car collides with a bear. Airbags deployed, damage to the exterior. By the way, the bear died. This happened on I-40 outside of Morganton. There's a way to prevent accidents like that. They look like this. They're called wildlife crossings. They're ways for animals to get under, or in this case, over the highway and avoid the accidents that are costing our state a lot of money, killing our animals, and in some cases even killing people. State House Representative Sarah Crawford is leading the charge to get North Carolina lawmakers to invest $10 million to build some of these wildlife crossings. Representative Crawford, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. I am so pleased to be here today.
By the way, those photos that we showed you of the accident are pictures that came from you. Your family was on a trip and you got in that accident with the bear. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So I was not the driver, so I was not really paying attention to the road. And my husband said, hold on, and then we were stopped. And we were stopped like we had hit a brick wall. It was just so shocking to us and very scary because your car stopped now in the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Exactly. Thankfully, everybody's okay.
Yes.
Now, other states and countries are investing in wildlife crossings. Colorado, this picture is from Canada. North Carolina has previously invested $2 million for wildlife crossings, but you want lawmakers to put $10 million into wildlife crossings to add more across the state. What will $10 million get us?
So there are 6 projects that are identified in 5 locations, primarily in the Pigeon River Gorge area. So that's areas along I-40, I-26, and that will get us a start on those wildlife crossings. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention there's $350 million that's been appropriated by the federal government in the Infrastructure Act for states for these pilot programs for wildlife crossings. And And the match for those federal dollars can be a 9-to-1 match.
And by the way, in case you're wondering, these do actually work, according to the experts. The animals do find their way to go to those wildlife crossings.
Yes, they absolutely do. In fact, I was just on a call this week. I said, what do you say to the naysayers who, say, oh my gosh, do wildlife really know to use this? And the answer is yes. And so they, when they create these, they actually set up wildlife fencing to help funnel the animals to the right place. And it's a generational impact where the moms will teach their young to cross the right passageway, and then it just gets passed down. The animals are very smart. Once they find a safe passage, they're going to keep using it.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck in getting to rally support for your colleagues at the legislature. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Such a simple idea if we could just get some money to pay for it. Good stuff there. So North Hills looking really pretty tonight, but boy, that sun tells the story. A really hot one today, Kat.
We got up to 98 degrees at both RDU and Fayetteville. It was sizzling hot out there. The heat index in the triple digits much of the day. If you've been holding off on going on your evening walk, jog, or bike ride until it cools down a bit, you're not going to have all that much luck. We'll be dipping into the 80s here soon, but it is still very humid outside. Some good news to report. The new drought monitor came out today, and we are almost entirely removed from it. A couple of splotches here of yellow, and that's abnormally dry, so not even an official drought there. But good news, we expected this. We had over 9 inches of rain during the month of July, and the mosquitoes are going crazy at my house. I don't know about you. 98 degrees the high tomorrow. We'll have a slightly better chance of storms tomorrow, to 40% chance, and the heat index may be even higher tomorrow, closer to 110. Saturday and Sunday, the heat backs off a little bit with highs near 90. We'll have a 60% chance of storms Saturday, a 50% chance Sunday, and the best chance those days will come later in the day. Tomorrow, let's take a look at futurecasts. Once we get to the afternoon, we'll see some scattered storms popping up. Not everybody's going to see rain tomorrow by any means. It's definitely not all day long. And then Saturday, a lot of clouds to start the morning around the area. And then once we get past lunchtime, we could see some thinning of the clouds, and that's when the storms begin to pop up, especially into the evening hours. These could be slow movers, dumping some heavy rain possibly Saturday. We will have a level 1 risk for severe storms tomorrow and Saturday. Keep in mind this is a low-end threat, so it means there could be a storm or two that has strong damaging wind gusts. We're not expecting any kind of widespread severe weather. The muggy meter stays high, though. Really no relief from this high humidity in sight anytime soon. It stays quite muggy feeling all the way into next week. And our WRAL Weather Watcher photo tonight is a beautiful one from the Clayton area. This is the sunset yesterday evening. Thank you to Tommy for sharing this picture with us. If you have a photo you'd like to see featured on TV, go to WRAL.com/weatherwatchers, and we'd love to showcase some of the cool shots from our area. We have all kinds of cool weather to see around the area. 98 degrees our high tomorrow. Once we get past tomorrow, we got to talk about the low. 78 Saturday morning. Boy, it's going to be warm and humid out there. The weekend, the heat backs off a bit. As we look ahead to next week, highs stay in the upper 80s to lower 90s. We'll have some isolated storm chances next week, but a lot to watch, including that tropical system. So stay tuned for updates next week.
We'll be paying attention, Kat. Thank you. Chris, I just got to say, I've loved having you here at 7 o'clock for sports. And what a great time to have you in the newscast, because not only do we have the Olympics, well, we got football on the horizon, man.
It's crazy. It's like August hits and now everything is here. Ready or not, NFL football begins tonight. Who's hitting the field first for the first preseason game? Plus, it's going to be a Durham-heavy sports show. We'll take you inside the very first day of camp for the NC Central Eagles. We'll hear from Duke coach Carol Lawson, who's currently coaching at the Olympics. That's next in sports. It's officially football season. There's been a lot of hype over Dave Canales and how he can take quarterback games to the next level. We hope to get a glimpse of that in exactly 1 week when the Carolina Panthers hit the field for their very first preseason game. They'll take the road to take on former UNC quarterback Drake May and the New England Patriots next Thursday. But we don't have to wait that long for football action. The Hall of Fame game is tonight in Canton, Ohio. The Chicago Bears will be taking on the Houston Texans. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock tonight. To the college ranks, NC Central got fall camp started this morning. A hot day at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. The Eagles finished 9-3 last season, but they missed out on defending its HBCU National Championship in the Celebration Bowl. This year, NC Central was picked to finish at the top of the MEAC, but head coach Trey Oliver said they're not focused on the past.